SoFi investors, stock market investors, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a very bold claim recently made by SoFi CEO Anthony Noto. He is planning and wants SoFi to get to 50 million members by 2030. That gives us 5 years to go from 11 million members to 50 million members. And in today's video, we're going to go over whether or not this is actually feasible. Can SoFi and the team get us to 50 million members within the next 5 years? It's a tall order going from 11 million members to 50 million members in 5 years. Let's break down whether or not it's actually possible. Let's get into the video. All right, SoFi investors, do me a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And the first thing I want to tell you guys, I got skin in the game with SoFi. In my big dog account, we got around 4,500 shares. My cost basis is a lot lower than it actually says because I do sell a lot of covered calls. So I'm always buying and selling these options whenever they get taken away, right? And I've been selling a ton of covered calls over the last few years and made a lot of money doing that. So I have around 4,500 in this account, and here in my Robinhood account and just a little baby account, we have around 300 shares, cost basis of around $12.61. So between these two accounts and some other little baby accounts, I have around 5,000 SoFi shares. So now let's get into the video talking about whether or not Anthony Noto and SoFi can have 50 million members. All right, SoFi investors, let's actually get into this video on whether or not Anthony Noto and SoFi can get up to 50 million members on their platform within 5 years, that 2030 target, right? So recently, Anthony Noto at the JP Morgan Global Technology, Media, and Communication Conference guided for 30% annual member growth and mid to high 20% revenue growth while maintaining a goal to reach 50 million members within 5 years, guys. It's a huge number, right? Especially if we take a look at the members and products slide from the most recent earnings report, right? As you can see, the growth is there, right? Steady growth, year over year, 34%, right? We added 800,000 new members in this previous quarter, closing in around 11 million members, guys. If we take a look over here, this is a more linear way to look at it from their company metrics page. It kind of shows you quarter after quarter the growth and where we're going with these new members, right? As I said before, 800,000 new members, right? So let's run the numbers, right? So in order to get to that 50 million member target, around 1.7 million new members per quarter over the next 5 years, right? So right now, we're sitting here, 10.9 million members, and we added 800,000, right? So I'm going to do a 30% compound annual growth rate every single year and see where we're at. So in Q1 2026, we should be around 13.3 million members. And then Q1 2027 will be around 17 million. And like I said before, we have to continue to grow at 30% to even sniff these numbers, right? At Q1 2028, we'll be at 22 million. And then it really starts to accelerate members-wise at 30% CAGR later as we get closer to 2030, right? From 2028 to 2029 in Q1, we added around 6 million new members in that year. And then Q1 2029 coming at 28.7. And then we really see an acceleration, adding 9 million new members from 2029 to 2030 up to 37.31 million Q1 2030. So by 2030, I don't think there's any real conceivable way for us to get there, right? But by the end of 2030, going into Q1 2031, we could get to 48.5 million members at a 30% compound annual growth rate. So by the end of Q1 2031, we're approaching 50 million SoFi members. So if one of these years we're at, 35%, or maybe even up to 40% in one of those years, we explode with growth. It's not out of the realm of possibility for Anthony Noto to be right on the money and for us to be approaching or slightly passing 50 million SoFi members, right? Remember, all these numbers are in right here are in millions of members, right? So 13.3 to 17 to 22 to 28 to 37 to 48.5 million members by the end of Q1 2031. So I think it's possible, right? And this is at 30%. So right now, quarters, coming in at around 800,000. But in order to get to that number, we need about 1.7 million new members per quarter. And I just don't think that number is really feasible. So I definitely don't think we will be able to get there by the beginning of 2030. But by the end of 2030, we're going to be knocking at the door, guys. It's going to be very, very close. And we need one of these years to be really hitting it out of the park. If we can get to around, 35% maybe one of these years, especially as we get closer and closer to 2030. But you got to remember, the more members we have, the harder it is going to be to sustain that 30% compound annual growth rate year over year. Right now, the numbers look pretty good. But remember, we're only around 11 million members, right? So in 5 years, we're talking, a 4x, 5x worth of members for SoFi stock and this company, right? So Anthony Noto seems pretty determined to get to this number, but the growth has to stay consistent. So one bad quarter, one bad year, there will be no chance that SoFi gets to 50 million members by the end of 2030. But if we could stay on this trajectory between 30 and 35% compound annual growth rate, guys, we'll be right there. Because right now, as I showed you before, we're still coming in at that 34%, right? I was a little conservative with these numbers doing the 30%. But at 34%, if we could do that quarter after quarter and year after year, all the way through 2030, we could get to that 50 million member number, right? So are we going to see a point where member growth really, really starts to accelerate, right? Remember, this blue is just in the quarter, right? So this is year over year. So we're seeing, from 51% to 44% down to 34%. If that number keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, it's going to be really, really difficult to hit 50 million members in 5 years. We'll have to see how it goes. Right now, we're on the right trajectory to get there, but we have to, definitely not go lower than 30% quarter over quarter and year over year, right? So that's my thoughts on whether or not SoFi can get to 50 million members within 5 years. What Anthony Noto talked about to JP Morgan in that conference not too long ago. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next video.